I know it sounds like a cheesy like label thing to say or whatever, but just like put yourself online. Like
Yeah.
that is 100% where it happened for me and 100% where it's happening for pretty much everybody else who's like doing it these days.
My name's Richard S. I'm here for NME Australia with the one and only Troye Sivan. How are you doing, Troye?
I'm good, thank you. I already apologized to you, but to anyone watching this, sorry about the construction noise. They're fully building a house 10 meters away from me right now. So, and I can't go anywhere.
Man, of course.
So yeah, sorry.
What has it been like living in Melbourne with your family?
I mean, it's been really, really nice actually. Like, you know, when I think about the way that lockdown looks for some people versus the way that it's looked for me, I just feel so lucky. Like I spent the first couple of weeks, like ISO number 1 was with my parents, and then ISO number 2, I've been at my brother's in kind of like this little granny flat, like loft situation.
Oh,
So
nice.
I've been, yeah, it's just nice. I've got like my own little privacy and stuff like that here. And yeah, I just like work on trying to be creative on my laptop, and I have been putting down some roots in Melbourne and realizing how much I really want to spend more time here.
Oh, amazing.
I've been cooking a lot. Yeah, just like trying to keep myself busy.
Sweet. I was going to ask, do you feel a sense of how much you've like grown since the last time you lived with your family? Or do you ever find yourself like regressing to that kind of teenage mindset?
Well, it's a bit of both, because I've had moments of both where I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy to be doing this again at 25, feels wild. But at the same time, you sort of like, I slipped back into like old habits so quickly, you know, like I spent almost all of my teen years like in my bedroom, locked away on my laptop, just online. And then as I kind of got working, you know, from like 19 to 25, I've been so busy and I've been traveling and stuff like that. And it's funny, like give me 3 months or 6 months or however long it's been to do absolutely nothing, and I completely regressed back to like 17-year-old Troye, lying in my bed, just like watching dumb shit on YouTube. And like, I don't know. I really do. I've enjoyed though, like getting in touch with, like that kind of boredom again. Cause
Absolutely.
for me, I always get really creative when I'm bored. And so
Nice.
I've had a really, really good time, like woodworking and like doing shit that I would never, ever, ever do normally. It's been really nice.
Do you feel like it's inspired any new material already, or are you still very much living through the songs of In a Dream?
I mean, I definitely I feel like inspired and I feel antsy to write, but at the same time, that's like the one creative expression or pursuit that I've had a really, really hard time with over the last couple of months. Like
Right.
it's something that hasn't come to me supernaturally, because I think for me, such a big part of my process is working with other people and collaborating. And you know, like I don't play an instrument. So for me, at the very least, even though I'll maybe write lyrics and melody by myself, I really need someone on chords, you know, someone either on the piano or someone on the guitar, or like, and I don't really like writing to track, because such a big part of why I enjoy making music is like, because I love production. And so to kind of get these like already made tracks it's just not super inspiring or fun to me. So I'm trying to be creative, but pretty much in all other ways except for songwriting.
Absolutely.
Bite the bullet and just like try a Zoom session or something. But for now I haven't managed.
I found that all these new songs have a very strong sense of place as well to me. Could I ask, what was the first song you came up with for the EP, and where were you at the time actually?
I think the first one, it's funny because it's actually not on the main version of the EP, but the first one was a song called 10 out of 10 that's going to come out, but it's on like deluxe versions and stuff like that. And it's interesting because you can hear in the lyrics of that one, there's still a lot of like hope and in a way after a while. And so that one was the first one. And then Take Yourself Home was where I was like, because there was quite a big gap between 10 out of 10 and Take Yourself Home.
Right.
And that was when I was like, okay, sick. I really, really like this. And it felt therapeutic and it felt like everything I've been trying to say. And It felt sonically exciting to me. And that was when I kind of like picked up a bit of momentum, I think.
Yeah. So could I ask, where were you actually when you started writing Take Yourself Home? Were you thinking of suburbia, or were you like in the city?
So I really like writing in Sweden, partially because maybe I am trying to get out of LA a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what you're feeling. But yeah, I sort of like ran off to Sweden. For me, it's just like, it's the best feeling in the world to escape to a place that I really, really, really love, where I have so many talented people to work with. And for me, it's kind of like a break where I'm not like in the studio. In LA, my studio hours are like 1 till 9, and that's like pretty rigid because I want to get home to my dog and I want to like go home and make dinner and all this stuff. When I'm in Sweden, it's like all the rules go out the window, and I'm just there to write. So I kind of exist. I wake up in the morning, maybe go for a coffee or something like that, and then I'm in the studio until like midnight or 1 or 2 a.m. And that feels so good to me. It's like the funnest thing in the world. So yeah, so I try and escape to Sweden as much as I can. But it was written between LA and Sweden, the whole thing.
Oh, awesome. Do you think that myth of like the Swedish pop magic is a real thing?
100%. It's so real. Because
so cool.
if you think about it, like they have such a small population and they disproportionately make up so much of the music that we love. And like for years, it's been that way. And so I've always wanted to do like a little mini documentary or a podcast or something exploring, because I speak to all of my Swedish friends about it all the time. And I've heard some really, really interesting theories of like why they think it is. Everything from like the fact that their national heroes, like growing up, is like ABBA and Max Martin. That I think really impacts young people. And so then they start learning music from a very young age. Plus, apparently, Swedish folk music is like very melodic. So the kind of music, the melodies that they used to are very just simple and catchy. And then lastly, the most interesting one I think for me is like, if you speak to a Swede, they speak like perfect English, but it's like still Swedish English in the way that they say something every like 10th sentence. They'll say something that you're like, oh, okay, that's an interesting way of saying that. I wouldn't have said that personally. Like, for example, if you think about Max Martin, it's like hit me baby one more time, or I want it that way. Like, what do those sentences actually mean?
Yeah.
Understand. And so as an English like speaking listener, it really catches your ear and it makes you think like, oh, okay, that's kind of like, what are they saying? What does this mean or whatever?
They're breaking the rules like just enough, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think as someone who like English is my first language, I'm dying for ways to do that. I want to constantly say things in a fresh way, and it's kind of harder, so I think for them, they just naturally write these lyrics that are interesting, and so it's fun to work with them, and it's fun to listen to, and it's super, super interesting, I think. Yeah,
the sonic palette of the EP is really incredible. Like, it's so vivid. There's like everything from folk to house music. I was wondering, was there a conscious decision to go for a slightly darker and more mellow tone than Bloom this time around?
I don't think it was conscious. I think that's just kind of like where I was at. And then also one thing that we had a lot of fun with this time was storytelling through the production. So like, for example, Stud, right, which is sort of this like disjointed song that ends up being this like really clubby, dancey song. The reason why we went in this sort of like roundabout way and where we went to all of these kind of different places is because of the setting in which it takes place. You know what I mean? Like it starts off super introspective and in my head, and then kind of takes you through to this club scene where you meet this like hunky guy who's there to save you from all of your body image issues is basically like what this is about. And so kind of telling that story through the production was really important to me. Or same thing with Take Yourself Home, where it's like yearning for this sort of like release, and then by the end of the song there's this really dancey outro where it's the same thing. You've kind of like gone to go like dance and cry and drink probably your like loneliness away. And then last example is 10 out of 10. When you hear it, you'll hear it starts off just a single vocal and a single guitar with this like almost bathroomy reverb on it. And I've always had this image of me kind of like sitting in the bathtub or sitting in the bathroom playing this song and singing it. And it starts off just me by myself, single vocal. And then throughout the song, as you kind of like let yourself fantasize, and I let myself fantasize as a writer when I was writing the lyrics about like what we could be, it gets bigger, and then there's more doubles, and then there's more instruments, and it feels super dreamlike. And then but by the end it shrinks way back down to that single vocal and that guitar again, and you're kind of like left to just think.
Yeah, I find that the songs have also made more space for instrumental sections and places where your voice actually isn't, which is it's gonna sound like a backhanded compliment, but it's nice.
No, totally. I appreciate it. I mean, for me, that's also just about like letting Oscar shine, you know, like
Absolutely.
the little instrumental on Easy, for example, that like weird fluty thing, that was in one take. And I was like, perfect, let's keep it exactly as is. There's little timing things in it that make it so just like quirky and real. And yeah, so you know, I'm a huge fan of him just like doing his thing. I think it's great.
So could I ask, what is your relationship with yourself like now that you're 25? Do you feel like you are the person that you wanted to become when you first started singing and performing and yearning for some kind of artistry, I want to say?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yes. Like I feel it's so cool to be able to say that, but like, yeah, ultimately like my dream did come true, which is crazy. And all I want for the future is to be able to keep doing it and like keep creating and have people want to listen or want to watch, or you know, like I just love being creative in all of these different forms. And so like I'm trying to work on some behind the camera stuff in like the documentary space. That's something that I'm really passionate about. Or like, I don't fucking know, like one day it might be interior design. I love interior design. I don't know. I want that in the future people will be like, oh, Troye Sivan put out a new like furniture line or a new in a movie or whatever. And like, they'll be like, oh, that should be cool. You know, that should be interesting. Like that's the dream. And so I just want to keep doing that.
So what's the first thing you're going to do once Melbourne's out of lockdown?
Ooh, have people over. I really want to have friends over for beers and like a barbecue on a warm day. That just sounds so nice.
Last question. Do you have any advice for young pop artists who are looking to prove themselves, possibly including myself?
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I think that I know it sounds like a cheesy like label thing to say or whatever, but just like put yourself online. Like that is 100% where it happened for me and 100% where it's happening for pretty much everybody else who's like doing it these days. So you need very little, and find a friend that you really like making music with, or do it yourself, or whatever your process is. And then just like put shit out and don't be too precious about it in the beginning, and like try 100 times and maybe one time something will take, and you'll see that people respond to something. And like, yeah, you just got to kind of go for it and keep going for it over and over and over again. And if you like something, chances are somebody else will too. So yeah.
Awesome.